Captain Coder here, and in this guide we will discuss a strategy for adding a clamping effect to our camera that prevents it from leaving the bounds of a scene. This guide is part of our 2D platformer project, and if you missed the previous videos, you can find them in the description below, or you can hop right into this part using the provided Unity package. And if you'd like to be notified when the next video is out, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell. Before we hop in, I want to remind you that you can ask questions, share your projects, and join the Captain's crew on Discord, or catch me live at CaptainCoder.live, where I create fun projects like this, chat with the crew, and drink way too much bean water. All right, let's hop in. We're in our platformer. We can hop, we can slide. The camera follows us as we move about. But one thing that happens in many platformers is as you get to the edge of a level, the camera stops following you and stops at the edge. So it'd be great is if I got to the edge here, my player would move and my camera would stop following me when I get to the edge of a map. To do this, we are going to introduce a minimum X and a maximum X value to our camera that limits where our camera can go and clamps it between those values. I'm back in my code and I'm going to add in two private member variables. The first one is going to be a float that is a minimum X, and then the second one is going to be a float that is a maximum X. In our update, we want to clamp the value, our positions value here, between our minimum and maximum. We can do this using mathf.clamp. This is a function that takes in three values: the value you would like to clamp, a minimum value, and a maximum value. We're clamping the target's position.x. We're gonna clamp it between our minimum X and our maximum X. Lastly, I need to make our min and X values serialized fields. So I'm going to add in the serialized field to both the min and max X fields. I'm back in Unity. The default values are set to 0, and so I need to adjust them here. Let's try -5 and +5 for our min and max X, and then I'm going to run my program. Okay, here I am as I move across. Notice I get stuck right there. 5 is not quite what we want, and -5 is also not quite what we want. We want to be able to set it based on that, so we can play around with these values. I can try -2, -3, 0 might not be enough, 1, 2, 3. Notice now that I'm at 3 here, that happened to work for my levels. I'm moving across and have 5 be a little bit higher here. I can increase it. Let's try 10. Let's see if 10 will get me there. 10 is still not enough. Let's try 15. There we go. 15 seems okay. 15 was the right number there. If I'd set it to 16, I would be seeing past that. So I can clamp between 3 and 15. I'm gonna go ahead and stop. I set it to 3, I set it to 15. Now when my program runs, I sort of will stop on either of those ends. So 3 and 15. This happens to work for the resolution I currently have, but what if my resolution changes? Oh, my camera size is changing, and that is making it so that way I can't actually clamp it there based on a constant 3 and 15. I'm gonna have to figure out how big my camera is. Lucky for us, this can be determined using our orthographic size. Since we have the projection set to orthographic and we have a size 5, this tells us how tall our camera will be. You'll notice if we change the size here, let's change it to 6, 10, that's how many units I am from top to bottom. By default, it's 5. You can adjust this to change how tall you want your game to be. And then, depending on our aspect ratio, we can actually determine the width of our screen. I'm back in my code. I can actually use the get component method here in my update to access the camera that's attached to our camera follower. I'll store it in a variable here. The type is camera. The type always matches what's between the angle brackets. And I'll name my variable camera. And then I'll assign the value there into the camera. I can then pull out my height. I can say float height is equal to my camera's.orthographic size. Orthographic size tells us how tall we are. And in fact, it's actually half the size. So it's from the center of the screen out. Next, I need to calculate my width. I can use the aspect ratio of our camera to determine this. Given our height, I can multiply it by our aspect, camera.aspect here, and this will actually give us the width. So we take our height, we multiply it by our aspect, and that'll give us our width from the center to the edge. And now we have the distance from our player, which should be at the center of the camera, to the edge. We can now use this width within our clamp, so we're gonna add it to our min X here, and we're gonna subtract it from our max X here. When we add it to our minimum, it creates a buffer from the left side to the center, and we subtract it from our max, we create a buffer from the max size minus that. So we create a buffer on the left and right side of our area. I'm back in Unity, and I've determined that my minimum X is -4 and my maximum X is 22. This is based on where I've positioned things in my tile map. But notice that I come over to the left side, I get clamped. My player no longer causes my camera to move when I'm all the way on the right side. And if I come to the left side, my camera stops there as I get to the edge. One more thing to notice is as I change my camera's aspect ratio, as I change the size, it doesn't affect that. Fantastic. Now it's your turn. Can you update your camera follower to have a min X and a max X? Remember to use get camera to pull out your camera component, and as an additional challenge, can you cache your camera's value in your awake? Give it a shot, and I'll see you on the other end. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you found this guide useful. You may have felt that configuring the min and max bounds manually through trial and error the way we did was not a pleasant experience, and oftentimes when you find yourself guessing and checking in this way, it's an indication that you should redesign your code to be easier for you to use. Take some time, think about it, and see if you can come up with an easier way for you to set the bounds that does not require you to guess and check. Then, let the crew know your idea by posting in the comments below or at Captain Coders Academy on Discord. And if you would like to be notified when the next video is out to see how I simplify our camera follower, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell. As always, keep coding, keep growing, be the best you can be, and you are welcome back anytime. Bye-bye.